We going live early. Oh, shit, we already started. I believe in a thing called love. Ooh. Nice little vocal warm-up before we start this motherfucker. Oh, shit. Whoops. All right. Had myself playing in the background, but at least I know the audio works. Always run up those stairs right before starting this motherfucker. All right, so we are going to be talking about Prince Daemon, the Rogue Prince, the guy who is going to make this series the greatest of all time. This one character has the potential to be better than every single character in Game of Thrones. You know why? Because his story is completely told, ladies and gentlemen, and he's a main character of this series. My energy is obviously on like an 11 right now. Before we jump into the contents of this video, it'll be maybe 30-45 minutes. I have figured some shit out thanks to the leaks. It deserves to be a full out live stream, not just like a little, 15-20 minute video or whatever. But before I get into any of that, please do me a massive favor and slap a like on this video. The like goal is going to be 420.69. Get it? Yeah. All right. So first things first, shout out to every single person in the chat. I'm going to give y'all a proper shout out here in a second. I kind of want to talk about the information that I figured out from the leaked pictures, but I'm going to wait a little bit to do that. Let's mostly talk about Daemon and who he is. Now, I've done several different character breakdowns before. So this isn't going to be like a full like Daemon rehashing of exactly who he is. This is more so going to be like who he is coming into, the first season. Obviously, they're going to be doing flashbacks, and then they're going to be doing sort of like a main timeline. We haven't figured out exactly how much time they're going to be spending in each, timeline or time frame. But judging from all of the leaked pictures, it's interesting that we've got so many of that are going to be potential flashback scenes. Main reason why I say that is because the cast members that were announced to be younger versions of Rhaenyra and Alicent are the ones that are mostly being heavily filmed. But to start out with, and really where Daemon's character is probably going to be picking up in this series, you got to look at the Stepstones. The Stepstones is basically a chain of islands between the southern Narrow Sea and the northwestern Summer Sea. The islands are to the east of Dorne and Westeros, and to the west of the Disputed Lands and Essos. The Stepstones are home to pirate dens, Lyseni, and mermen. The islands are mostly affected by storms. So one of the things that you got to know, or the biggest thing to know about the Stepstones, is that at one point they were connecting Essos and Westeros. There was this big battle of ice and fire, and the arm of Dorne, the Stepstones, that was all shattered. So this is around that kingdom. But for this series, during the dance, in particular, Shiraka Lahar led the Triarchy's fleet from the Stepstones for the Battle of the Gullet in 130 AC. So this is kind of after where they're starting. Now, I think I actually have, hang on one second. Stop screen share and then share this. I think I actually have pictures of the Stepstones. Yeah, y'all should be able to see that. This is kind of where we're going to be seeing this. Is obviously before 130 AC. So basically what happens is Otto knows that Daemon has enemies down there, and to sort of summarize, he goes and grabs those enemies and uses them to combat the Blacks in the Dance of the Dragons. But mostly, Daemon actually is kind of not just your typical A Song of Ice and Fire character, meaning we get to see their inner thoughts and workings, right? Because most of the favorite characters have POVs. So we get to not only sort of read their thoughts, but we get to look at the world from their perspective. And then when you read other POV chapters, you get to further connect that world because you're reading from another person's perspective. And it's kind of you get a better picture from reading all of those, because the narrator, for the most part, not only in real life, but in this story is like unreliable. So like, for instance, in real life, if someone's retelling something and it's based on memory, memory is a sketchy fucking thing. So it's not like 100% positive that, you know, that thing or whatever it is that you're recounting from memory went down. So this is basically what we're doing with these POV chapters. You're listening and reading that person's memory, so it's not 100% reliable. So I think that's kind of what you know, is a big thing to take away from these. It's like the human memory is not, you know, the best. But basically, Daemon is obviously the king's brother. So just sort of jumping back here, he's the king's brother. He wants to be the king, but he's not. He's good enough to be the king. In my opinion, he would have made for just a more memorable king. Like, he would have done more fucked up shit than Viserys. Maybe the dance wouldn't have happened. Maybe if Daemon was king, he would have been like a typical cruel Targaryen, but he wouldn't have brought the downfall of the dragons. Maybe the dragons would have been around for a little bit longer had he had been king. Viserys, you know, took care of what he needed to, but the fact that he kind of allowed so many outside people, meaning non-Targaryens, to influence him, he sort of left it ripe for the taking when he died. If Daemon was in his position, I don't know if that would have been the same. Obviously, Daemon is known as the Rogue Prince. He's his character. If you were picking a color to describe his character, it would be black, right? Daemon is not necessarily the most fitting for a king, but you could honestly argue that if he was in Viserys' position, maybe the shit that happened when Viserys died wouldn't have happened if Daemon was in his place. Maybe some more terrible shit would have, who knows? But basically, you know, Daemon's obviously a Targaryen. He's not necessarily ever really named the Prince of Dragonstone, although the House of the Dragon description on the Game of Thrones website will lead us to believe that he's going to be Prince of Dragonstone when the show starts in the early timeline, like when they're doing the flashbacks. I don't even know if it could be called flashbacks at this point, because like I said just a little while ago, there's so many pictures of the younger cast members. I wouldn't be surprised if this first season it was like split 50-50, whereas the younger cast has just as much screen time as the older cast. I know there's going to be 10 episodes. I know they're usually around 50 to 54 minutes. Obviously, it's no commercials because this is HBO. But it'll be interesting to see how much screen time they spend per episode. It's got me. Who the fuck is this in the chat? You got blocked, buddy. Why? I didn't even know you could spam. How is someone even spamming? Oh, that's not even Link. That's just their name. That's funny. Look at this idiot. How did you do that? What the fuck? Anyway, I forgot what I was going to. What? Damn porn bots. Yeah, don't click on that. If you, yeah, don't do that. Shit, what the hell was I just talking about? Character, black, color, Prince Daemon. Damn, I completely forgot. Wow. I felt like I was on a roll there. Oh, yeah. 50-50 screen time. Yeah, I don't even know if they could be called flashbacks because it seems like we're going to be spending so much time with the younger cast members. We're about 8 minutes into this video. For those of you who are watching this live and who are watching this afterwards, please slap a like on this video. It really helps out my channel. Obviously, you can look at my view count from just last year and the view count from this year. YouTube is plotting against me. I know. Here, let me go full screen for this. This is a good point to do this little thing in the video. But basically, I think it was July of last year. I had these plot leak videos going. They were trending in YouTube's algorithm. They were doing what my videos normally do. Something happened where they stopped allowing me to link my newer videos to those videos that were doing well. And when you do that, it boosts the views of the new video. So something happened where YouTube wouldn't let me link those new videos. I obviously contacted someone at YouTube through Google, and it was like a bot. So I was like, can I get an actual person here? Then once I got an actual person, they're like, hey, can you take a screenshot of what's going on? I did that. They're like, okay, this isn't good enough. Can you take a recorded video of what's happening? I'm like, okay, I'll do a screen record of that. Sent them that video. Then they told me, hey, this isn't good enough. We don't really know what's going on. Can you somehow access the code of that web page when you tried it? It was just so much crazy shit. So I'm like, I don't even know what you're asking me to do. And I obviously never got someone to follow up with me because I didn't do what they asked me to. So because of that, something happened where I could never link my newer videos all the way up until now, and obviously going to continue to those videos. And because of that, I think that's sort of fucking with the algorithm, where like none of my videos get more than 2,000 or 3,000 views for the most part. The House of the Dragon trailer came out, and my videos are still getting these low numbers. Which, to be honest, I got to the point where I don't even give a shit how the videos do. But now it's like, I mean, come on, that's 3 months of me uploading every fucking day, and YouTube's algorithm is still treating the videos the same. That's crazy. So all of that aside, in order to help me, if you like my shit, if you like my videos, if you are entertained by me, just stop liking this, subscribe, and turn notifications on. Eventually, YouTube's algorithm will go fuck itself, and like hopefully we'll get back to normal. But there we go. Okay, so let's see what we're talking about. Flashbacks. So basically, as Daemon goes bored in King's Landing, he wants to be the king, but he's not. King Viserys never names him Prince of Dragonstone. He doesn't make it so that his brother can be next in line. So obviously that creates tension and rivalry. More so on Daemon's side, Viserys never really fully hates his brother. He admires him. He wants to be him. So Daemon obviously is given power, but it's never enough. So this is eventually why, he forms the Gold Cloaks, turns the City Watch into, a respectable organization, but then grows bored, marries a Royce bitch, the bronze bitch, and he's like, yo, fuck this hoe, I'm bored, and then goes down to the Stepstones and carves out his own kingdom, right? So this is near the disputed lands. So during this time frame, they're not bowing down to King Viserys. So Daemon does this and is named King of the Stepstones by Corlys Velaryon. We've seen Corlys at House Velaryon, we've seen Daemon, we've seen all of them, so we know it's going to be the Stepstones. We've seen what could potentially be the Triarchy. So this is kind of going to be our first image of Daemon being this battle commander, this dude who's doing something that doesn't necessarily need to be done, but he's doing it. So we'll know that, hey, he's got this history of controlling armies, of making battle strategies, of fucking bitches in like where did that come from? Just doing war shit. This is where Daemon starts out at. One of the next things I want to discuss. This should be 1080p, real quick. But they're Russian singles and they're waiting to meet me in my area. What was I about to say? Shit. Yikes. Oh yeah, so yada yada. This is where Daemon's character is going to be starting out. We're 13 minutes in. I guess we can move on to the next thing. So obviously after Daemon does this, after we see that he's got this history of a battle commander, when he comes back, we think we have flashbacks of I'll try to pull these images up. Let's see. I think I have those already pulled up. Maybe not, because that was a while back. Yeah, I don't think so. But basically, Daemon ends up coming back to, Westeros. According to the history books, this is around the time where he marries Lena Velaryon. I think that's in like 111 AC or something like that. Really, the dance doesn't super kick off until 130 AC. But you got to realize that Daemon, even though he grows bored, he never has quite enough power. This is all sort of laying the foundation for the things that he does in the actual Dance of the Dragons. Now, as far as like the juicy part of the details, or like the shit that I claim to have figured out at the beginning of this video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about that because we're about 15 minutes in, and I think this is around the part where most people probably stop viewing in. So this is a good part to share some information that I came across. All right. So this image that you guys are seeing right here, this is most likely Harrenhal. Now, I've said before, this could be King's Landing. There is no Godswood, there's no heart tree that's a Weirwood tree in the King's Landing Godswood. As a matter of fact, it's specifically noted that it's a great oak. So then obviously, you go to Winterfell, but then you look at the banners and they're Targaryen, and you look at the stone and it's red stone, much like with King's Landing. So I don't know if this is King's Landing, but there is specific moments in the Dance of the Dragons where there's a Weirwood tree. It's got connections to the main story. And the way that Prince Aemon's eye is described is kind of crazy, right? So the fact that there are dragons in the world means there's more magic in the world. The fact that none of these characters from A Dance of Dragons, all of the main characters that we hear about, so that's the greens and the blacks, you have Daemon and Rhaenyra on one side and Alicent and Sir Otto on the other side. Obviously, we have Aegon and then Aemond. But for the most part, we just hear about the events. We can kind of guess what their POV might have been, but this show is going to full on show you all of the speculation for the, adaptations universe. So this show is set in the Game of Thrones universe, not in the book universe, obviously. But all of that speculation is about to be set aside. This show is going to give full in-depth details. So when George R. Martin describes a character and it sounds like another character, in particular, Aemon's eyes being shined as described as like gleaming and glittering, you have to realize that there's a connection with Aemon to magic. You also have to realize that there's a connection with Daemon to magic. Main reason being is because there's just too many dragons to not have titular characters connected to magic. Now, in particular, what I'm talking about with this Weirwood tree and in the A Song of Ice and Fire books, right before Daemon goes and kills his son, yeah, that's right, Daemon is Aemon's father. Go check the link down below in the description or just go type in Sir Hunt's House of the Dragon. It's one of my more recent videos. Done a video explaining why I think Daemon is Aemon's father. Loosely, mostly because Daemon fucked Alicent. Aemon's characteristics are more in line with his uncle. And then obviously someone in my comment section pointed out it's pretty lazy, but you could literally take the D and move it to the front, and that's Daemon and Aemon, right? So the fact of those two things, like, we know Alicent was promiscuous. She was fucking King Viserys before he even divorced Aemma Arryn, who is, Queen Aemma Arryn. That's Rhaenyra's mother. So before he even divorced her, before she died, he was fucking Alicent. There were rumors of that. And rumors means, well, yes, that happened. They were probably fucking on the Iron Throne. Maybe they fucked on the back of Balerion, the Black Dread. But the fact that Alicent was doing this before she got with the king and became queen made me think, hey, maybe she was trying to fuck her way to power. That's what everybody did back then, right? So you use what you have to your advantage. Maybe she's like, hey, Daemon is probably next in line for the Iron Throne. If I can't marry the king, maybe I could fuck the king's brother. The timeline isn't exactly the same. Obviously, Aemon was born after King Viserys and Queen Alicent got married, but it's possible. So anyway, before the fight that, happens, the battle above the God's Eye, the death of everyone's favorite characters, Daemon and Aemond. Before that happens, just to sort of summarize here, Daemon slashes at a Weirwood tree 13 times. It's actually said that the slashes on that Weirwood tree that was made by Daemon using Dark Sister, because that was his sword, still bleed. They never healed. The Weirwood tree never healed from the 13 slashes put in it by Daemon. Daemon does this to draw out Aemon. Now, you could say, obviously, this is similar to someone killing a victim every time they don't get what they want. So in a hostage scenario, you kill a hostage until you get what you want or whatever the fuck. You could say this is why Daemon was slashing a Weirwood tree. But Weirwoods are magic, let's be real. Aemon replaced his eye with not just the sapphire. He did what Euron did. He also did what motherfucking Bloodraven did. He put a magical black candle in that bitch, right? Daemon is being watched by Aemon at the castle through the Godswood. Daemon knows this because Daemon has a connection to the old gods, to magic, right? He probably taught this magic to Rhaenyra and maybe Alicent. Maybe the fact that Aemon has Alicent's blood, which is Hightower blood, which is literally the source of maesters and magic in this fucking world. Aemon knows this, and maybe he is more adept at magic than Daemon is. Maybe the fact that he lost something and then gained something magical, like his eye gave him that third sight. Maybe Daemon is able to just know that, can sense that he's being watched because he is the blood of the dragon. It's quite possible that when he slashes at the Weirwood tree, Aemon does this, and because he's looking at him, he could sort of feel the pain. So maybe there's like slashes or something that's happening counterintuitive, or like at the same time to Aemond. I don't know. I'm going too far down this theory. I don't know. But I will say there's also references to the same god tree and the slashes, like Arya slashes at the same Weirwood tree in A Clash of Kings. That's kind of interesting. George doesn't put these clues in his books for no goddamn reason. There's a reason, and I think the reason is because there's going to be a magical connection. Oh shit. So yeah, I mean, it just makes sense, right? So this is probably Harrenhal. This is that Weirwood tree. Like, obviously, the Battle above the God's Eye is not going to happen in season 1, but we have Harrenhal being shown in season 1. We have that God's Wood tree being shown in season 1. So in a couple of seasons later, when Daemon's slashing at it, we have reference to it, right? We have to have build-up to figure out how certain characters get their magical abilities. Maybe the first time we see Aemond, he loses his eye, and in the same night, Alicent has him treated by a maester, who is a new character entirely, and in the process of healing his eye and closing it up, you know, you have to remember that the only way that magic 100% works in this world is if you sacrifice something to gain it. I've been doing some research, and I think that George was influenced by Patrick Rolfus's magic system or some shit, because he's got like 32 different magical systems in his books or whatever the fuck. I don't even know anything about Patrick Rolfus's books, but I thought it was funny that he is such an asshole to his book reader. He does these live streams on Twitch, and people will be like, hey man, when's the book coming out? Just genuinely curious, right? So it's the same issue with, you know, like, when's a winner? We're waiting on where the fuck is when's a winner? Where's George is giving us these football updates? No, I'm just kidding. I don't give a shit. I obviously give a shit, but I know when's is coming. I'm just saying it's the same thing that's happening with Patrick Rolfus's book. The last one came out a while ago, and the next one isn't coming out. So he decided for some fucking reason to start streaming on Twitch, and didn't realize that the only questions he's going to get is troll questions about when the fuck is the next book coming. That'd be like if George did a stream on YouTube. Obviously, he's going to get 40,000 people watching. The whole chat's just going to be going, it's going to be wins emojis. Like, hey, man, why the fuck aren't you writing? Anyway, I understand that writers don't deserve the hate they get from their fans, but it's also like you're asking for it by going on Twitch, of all places. That's like the fucking trolls platform, whatever. I have 30 people watch me, and someone put a porn link in the chat. If you're a fucking world famous author and you have millions of people waiting on your books, obviously they're going to troll you. I don't know. It's sad because you could see that he's sad in his eyes, but it's also like, come on, man, you asking for it, bro. Like, what the fuck are you? Anyway, so yes, Alicent will have a maester come and heal Aemond. And when they do that, Aemond's going to get magical abilities. The only way magic works in this world is if you sacrifice, if you lose something. Aemond is blood of the dragon. Aemond is Hightower. I believe the Hightowers are first men, maybe even older than that, because the base of the Hightower was there before the conquering of Westeros. So they've got some deep connections to magic. So obviously, you know, Alicent and the Maesters and the Hightower connection isn't 100% laid out in the books. It kind of is, but not really. So the show is going to take liberties. The fact that Arya slashes at the same fucking tree as Daemon is that's just a dead giveaway. There's something going on there. If I'm not mistaken, like right after that, Arya like prays to the old gods and says Valar Morghulis or something and likes the way that it sounds. So there's like a blood magic link to that. It's right after Jack can kill someone for her. So we're about 23 minutes in. This is a good point for these live streams, these live Daemon deflowered Alicent. Jacob. Oh yeah, I wanted to jump into the chat. So just to reiterate, let's see, we have the Stepstones. Hang on one second. Oh, we have, I think this is from there. This might be an older Daemon, I'm not sure. But we've got Daemon's going to be established as a war commander, a war commander, a battle veteran. God damn, that was like commander. And I said it so naturally, like, hey, yeah, that's a word, commaderly. But yeah, so Daemon in the beginning of the series is going to be established as a bit of a battle commander, a bit of a veteran warrior. The main thing that you need to know about his character is that he really doesn't take any shit. One of the first scenes that we will see him in this show, he decks out. a House Targaryen soldier. He decks out one of his own bannermen. The fact that this bannerman is at the war table lets you know that he's probably a higher up. He's not just some foot fucking soldier, right? So Daemon lands on Caraxes, hops off that motherfucker, takes off part of his armor, then runs up and punches the shit out of this dude. Now, that's not what the pictures are from this scene. Hang on, actually, as a matter of fact, I can bring that image up. Just give me 1 second. Let's see. Pictures. I hear my son crying. I might have to end this a little bit earlier than I thought. Do we have the? Yes, I do. Okay. Let's see. Let me zoom in a little bit. So the scene that I was just describing is this scene right here. Obviously, it's pretty fucking intense, but basically Daemon, you can see where that red arrow is. Red arrow guy. Haha, fuck you, dumb retard. I read all those comments. I see all the shit you're talking. You know who the person, you know who. The YouTuber who makes Dan and Dave videos and does nothing but just tweet nonsense. And they're the only person who can share their videos on the House of the Dragon subreddit. You motherfucker. You know what I'm talking about. Called me the red arrow guy. Ha ha ha, chug my dick. Again, I'll say it again. I'm going to start dissing that dude in every video that I do. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that was basically the scene that I was describing. So, Daemon is going to be established very early on as someone who doesn't take nonsense from anyone. I can relate to that because, like, when you have children, it does give you patience. You get a lot of patience for shit that you never had patience for. But you also, your bullshit meter goes, I guess, down or up, whichever one where you can take less bullshit. That's the way your bullshit meter goes. And that's who Daemon is. Not only who he is, but that's like ultimately kind of what leads to his downfall. And obviously I was saying there's some mystical shit with Daemon, his death, the fact that when he died, it's mentioned specifically that Aemond's body was found, but not Daemon's. And then you find out that his lover at the time, Nettles, there's some people who listen to the Maesters and don't realize that the Maesters are going to lie, right? But, the Maester stated that Nettles could have been more of a daughter to Daemon because that was his relationship with her. Well, you got to realize that Daemon likes to sort of fuck his kin, so that may have very well been the relationship, but Daemon was 100% sleeping with Nettles. I thought it would be interesting to make Daemon a dude, make Nettles a dude, and then you make Daemon kind of like bisexual or some shit. I don't know. I mean, it would like win HBO more awards for sure, but I just thought it would be an interesting contrast to sort of like, maybe that's why, I don't know. But anyway, we find out that Nettles lives off in the woods. She ends up having a clan's tribe worship her. They would sacrifice shit to her to let them know that she's worthy. So if you combine Daemon with the Weirwood link slashing at the tree with Aemond trying to call him out, and we know that Aemond has magical abilities, so does Daemon. It's possible that Daemon maybe taught this magic to Nettles. Maybe that's what helped her tame Sheep Stealer ultimately. Obviously, she has the blood of the dragon. She used sheep to sort of like tame the dragon, but maybe there's something more to it. Maybe Daemon, I had theorized before that maybe Daemon and Rhaenyra are shown riding dragons, and Daemon explains their magical connection to Rhaenyra. So like in the books, Rhaenyra is taught how to please a man by Daemon. Maybe they could switch that for the show to where it's like Daemon taught her how to ride dragons. He taught her about her Valyrian roots, her ancestry. And in doing so, we get to see it as the viewing audience. And it's just like a way of exposition. So you don't have to have someone narrating it. We could just visually see Daemon's like, okay, when you grab your dragon this way and you lean into it and you say the words Dracarys or Zeldrizas Pusdari Ixos Daor, or there's some Valyrian shit, the dragon will do this. Maybe they say that there are certain rituals that you can perform with the dragon. I know I'm going too far into it, but there's so much more. All right, and I think that's pretty much it. This is a good point. We're 30 minutes in. I'm going to take some questions from the chat, and then I'm going to get the fuck out of here. My son's downstairs, and I want to go give him kisses. You know what? I'm going to go give him kisses right now. I'll be right back. Please, get your questions ready in the chat. I'll be right back. All right. Chats. Jim O'Donnell says, when's a win? This is off topic. When's a winner is it's never coming out. George R. Martin is too scared to finish. He doesn't want people to not like it. Beta male syndrome. Dude. Come on, Jim. Beta male syndrome. Whatever. When's a winner will be here. Not to fret, my friend Jim. How could Divine Sharika say, let's shout out, by the way. Let me shout out everybody in the chat real quick. Hang on. I gotta go to the YouTube page to see that. Oh wait, no, I don't. I can pull it up on my phone. See that? Oh wait. All right, participants. Hold up. What the fuck? Shout out to Lord Crackhead 33, Basket Case, Cody Bell, K3G92 with the Goku icon. Shout out, buddy. Tarlok Singh, PJ's Reads, Webcam HD. Oh, wait, that's the person who did the fucking porn message. Crazier Things. Dizzy, Jacob A, Jim O'Donnell, Craig Williams, and I think that's it. All of who's typing. All right. So Divine Sharika says, how could this be Harrenhal, Lord Hunts? The stone at Harrenhal isn't red. My guess is it could be the Red Keep, which you said, or it could be Summerhall. Now, clearly, you weren't listening to my 13 slashes Weirwood theory. That's the only reason why I think it's Harrenhal. Obviously, Harrenhal is this giant melted tower that happens during Aegon's conquest. That could be added in CGI behind the Godswood. These castles on the TV show are in their own world. When we saw Casterly Rock, the TV show's version of it, that's when we knew, okay, they're just going with more practicality. Castle Rock, that kind of fortress, doesn't exist. You could argue that George was inspired by that one Bavarian castle in Germany or whatever that's like on the hill cliff or on the cliffside thing. It looks like all the Disney castles. That's literally what the Disney castle was inspired by. Maybe, but all the show's castles are in their own world. So we've seen Harrenhal on the TV show, but this is 180 years, 200 years before that. They've obviously changed the Iron Throne. They'll change the way Harrenhal looks. But the only reason why I was saying that is because of the 13 slashes that Daemon put into the tree in order to lure Aemond out. And I think it would be interesting if we get Harrenhal and that connection with the God's Eye. You got to realize that one of the main houses in power, House Strong, Larry's, I think, Varys, basically, Clubfoot, he just knows too much information to not have a connection to the old gods or just magic in general. The fact that there would be a Godswood at Harrenhal, and maybe we get to see when the Clubfoot was younger, his foot went lame, and that's what gave him that magical connection to the gods, like crippled bastards and broken things. Bran breaks his back literally, and that's what unlocks his green seer potential. So every single person that's crippled in some way in this story, one way or another, has a magical connection. In my opinion, maybe not every single character, but for the most part. Just look at Patchface, right? So he starts having all these visions and shit after he somehow survives a shipwreck that no one else survived. Literally, when they first discovered Patchface on the beach after that shipwreck that killed, I think, I can't remember his fucking name, but it's Robert and Stannis' dad. So the shipwreck that he dies in off of Storm's End Patchface was in that shipwreck and somehow survived. And when they find him on the beach, he's literally fucking dead. He's literally dead as shit. His skin is like gray, and he's been at sea, drowned for several days. Coughs up water, and he's like, God, all this crazy shit's gonna happen. Follow me, right? So he's like doing all these nuts shit because he has these visions because he lost his sanity. So I don't know. Basket Case says, shout out little Sir Hunt's handsome little guy. Thank you. He says, hello. Yes, my son, who doesn't know how to speak, somehow has when he does talk, he does racist Asian voice. Hello, everybody. What the fuck? I don't know. Been watching too much Comedy Central from 2003. How are you going to handle if they drop the ball again and leave us flapping in the wind? So what do you mean? Like if the show's bad? It won't be. That's the thing. Like I always say, wait and see. But the more you realize who Ryan Condal is, right? So you watch his podcast, listen to his podcast, watch the interview that he did with IGN with George R. R. Martin way back in 2016. They're talking about his show Colony, and George is talking about something else. And then, Miguel Sapochnik visually is responsible for some of the best moments from the main series. There's just too many things stacked against the show winning for it to fail. Right? It is possible for the writing to be a tad bit crummy in places because obviously George isn't writing the scripts and all this shit. But for the most part, this show is literally going to be the greatest thing on TV. It may take a while for it to become better than Game of Thrones, but as soon as it airs, it's going to be the best thing on TV since Game of Thrones. I just have too much. HBO has fucking done too much like amazing shit for this to not be a success. I don't watch The Sopranos, but you got that Sopranos movie. You got The Suicide Squad. You got fucking Dune. Everything. Like the Lord of the Rings movies. If I'm not mistaken, that was Warner Brothers. And, they own HBO. So they just, you can't fail. There's like, obviously the show could have its shitty points. We could have a season 5, right? So we could have like the Dorne plot that didn't really work out on the TV show that could happen at parts in this series. But the only reason why the Dorne plot, like Dan and Dave didn't know where to go with it is because the story wasn't finished. Obviously, their choices in writing, say what you will, but when they had the source material, their adaptations were fucking fire. That's one thing that is unanimously agreed across the board. You may not have liked the later seasons of Game of Thrones, but you sucked the dick of seasons 1 through 4. You know what I mean? That's because the source material was strong. That's because their adaptation potential was strong. Whatever. So you could have moments like that in this show, but it's just not going to happen because the story's already been finished. The part that they get to take liberties with is something that ultimately won't affect the outcome of the story. So it will just be more interesting for the TV show, which is good because, to be honest, there are parts of Fire and Blood, like obviously Fire and Blood Part 2 is coming out, but this story has already been told. There are parts that I wish could have been expanded upon a little bit. And obviously George can't do that because the person who the events actually happened to is dead and didn't recount their telling of the story. You just had people that were around them that are retelling the story. So that's really what I'm looking forward to some of the most in this series. I take like 20 minutes to answer one question, and there's a few other ones that popped up, or multiple other ones that popped up. Kind of the same with Cosmere, having psychological wounds triggers magic. Cosmere, isn't that the universe of... Okay, so Robert Jordan wrote The Wheel of Time, and then the guy finished it. The guy who finished it writes like Stephen King style fantasies where it takes him 6 months to put a book out. I don't know if that speaks to the quality of it, but that's what the Cosmere is, right? So some company bought the rights for the Cosmere a couple of years ago, and there hasn't been any adaptations of it yet. I don't know what the Cosmere's name, but that's like a fantasy. It's like the fucking so like, god damn, I don't remember. I just read this the other day. I didn't read the fucking book, but I read the wiki page for the summarization of the plot. So it's like different planets or something. So like a magical race goes out and gives magic abilities to different planets of people, and they have different types of magic systems or something, right? Isn't that what that is, Cosmere? I don't know. You got to teach him Valyrian when he's older. Oh, he already knows it. He just doesn't know how to like say it, but he definitely knows. Seldrizas Buzdari Ixos Daor. You know what's funny? I saw a couple of people commenting how they hate my voice and my narration. Well, sorry. Do you think Martin should do some writing for the show? 100%. I think he should write the entire series. I think him and Condell should be the only ones who touches the scripts. They could have their team of writers help develop the plot and the overreaching story arc for the season, but I think George R. Martin and Ryan Condell should be the only people who are writing dialogue. Maybe Miguel Sapochnik, but that's not going to happen, obviously. He's going to write maybe a few scripts, but I don't think he's going to be writing that much. He said he's going to be finishing Wins a Winner. When it comes to the recounting the dance, whose version of events do you favor, the Maester or mushrooms? Definitely mushrooms. His salacious claims are what make this story what it is. This is funny. As the old phrase goes, if you ain't fucking, you ain't trying to win that Iron Throne. And that's right. That's that old saying. As that old saying goes, if you ain't splitting that pussy open for the Iron Throne, you don't want that bitch. Aemond's girl, Alicent, also sees things in the fire like Mel if memory serves. So yes, Aemond's got so many different connections to magic in this story. I think my theory of that being Harrenhal and us seeing the Godswood, maybe the show does something where Daemon uses Harrenhal as a base. Daemon taking Harrenhal and having the paramount of Harrenhal at the time bend the knee to him is one of the first things he does in the war. And he's actually sort of people are glad that he does it because it's very like honorable the way he does it because no blood is shed. He literally flies Caraxes up to the King's Spire, lands him, and then the dude bends the knee. And obviously, a couple seasons down the line, Aemond comes and tries to take Harrenhal, and then, Daemon leaves, and we have the battle above the God's Eye. But for the most part, Daemon does use Harrenhal as a base of operations. If we could see Daemon in Harrenhal early on, if we could see maybe other characters in Harrenhal, the Godswood is established. Maybe the strong connection to magic is more so explained. Maybe we get to find out that Daemon. It's just too much. I really hope this theory is true. If you all think so, well, let me know down below in the comment section, and also if you're watching right now, let me know in the chat. Basket Case says, I feel pretty solid when it comes to the showrunners and feel like they'll do a good job giving us the show the fans deserve. Do you have any reservations about how the show could turn out? My only reservations is that they won't have enough titties. Season 1 had titties every few seconds. Nice titties. You have natural titties. I don't think they had any unnatural titties, but they just had big titties, small titties, medium titties, large titties, bald titties, all types of titties in this show. Game of Thrones invented a type of scene called a sex position, right? So you literally have sex because the exposition, the dialogue is too boring. So if you show people fucking, maybe get some tribbing action going, maybe a little bit of dick and butt play, right? Maybe a little bit of fucking, not slapping against the pussy, right? If you have that going on while people are talking, it's so much more interesting, right? Right? Pubic mounds, titties, dicks, buttholes. Everybody wants to see that. And if you have dialogue going at the same time, well, then it's just much more digestible. So my only reservation for this new series is that Miguel Sapochnik and Ryan Condell maybe don't show as much nudity. You have to understand that no, sirs. We need that because sometimes there's too much dialogue and we need to see some fucking titties going, dong, 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 dong. You know what I'm saying? You know, some other people need to see some balls like slapping. I don't know what's attractive about balls, but whoever likes balls probably knows what's attractive about them and they just want to see them, you know? Who knows? Yes, 100%. 100%. That's my only reservation is that they won't be as raw as the original show because they don't feel like they need to. And the only reason why that's a reservation is because the actress who plays Alicent, Olivia Cook or Olivia Smith, I don't know her name. No, I do know her name. I'm just saying. She said that there won't be as much grotesque violence. And I don't think she worded that the best way because you have to understand that most of the violence in Game of Thrones was 100% necessary. Like, obviously, the raping of Sansa that didn't happen in the books. It kind of did, but not to Sansa, to Jane Eyre. The fucking prostitutes beating each other to death. Roz, right? Shit like that. They're saying that like didn't necessarily, but no. Here's the thing. It fucking did. Fuck the critics who didn't think they need to show it. They're not true fans of the show. They're people who paid. They're people who are literally paid to watch something and have an opinion. Their job is about having an opinion on something. And for the most part, they're contrarian dickheads. So they'll say the opposite of what's true. Like, what the fuck? Dave Chappelle's comedy special, regardless of the material in it, if you look at the audience score and then you look at the critic score, who do you think's being paid to downvote it? Like, regardless of what you think of the material, me personally, I think that he says the same fucking joke over and over again. Dave Chappelle's still the greatest stand-up of all time, but it's like, move on, bro. Move on. You've made those jokes. You've made your points. Stop talking about it. Who gives a shit? It's annoying, right? Anyway, say what you will about the content of that special. The audience they're not paid to fucking lie, right? So the audience kind of, you know, what the fuck was the point of that? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, critics might have said they had a problem with the grotesque violence and then too much nudity in Game of Thrones, but the real OG motherfucking fans don't give a shit. We want to see that as much as possible. It's like when you see titties or a pair of dicks on someone who's not that famous, but then they get famous later. You're like, holy shit, I saw their titties. Like, I know that's like demented, but it's also like people. That's how people think, man. Whatever it is, humans are horny things. So like, sex is very much a part of this world, and it shouldn't be. I don't know. Divine Sharika says, I think I'm saying your name right. Can you tell me if I'm saying it wrong? I know you've been watching my videos for years. They actually make awesome art. I think it's Char KD or something on Instagram. You can link or just type in your name in the chat and I'll pop it up on the thing like I did with this. But this person makes awesome art. They said, I've watched your channel since GOT. I knew your favorite character was Danny, and I wonder who will you be more loyal to when Hot the airs. Well, here's the thing. All of them are Targaryens, baby. So it don't matter who I'm more loyal to. Like, probably gonna be Rhaenyra in the Blacks. Rhaenyra, for the most part, sounds like she is what we hoped Daenerys, or what Daenerys could have been if her family wasn't wiped out. So if Daenerys wasn't forced to flee to Essos and then have to come back and retake Westeros, we get to see a Targaryen princess in their prime. And more excitingly, obviously, Rhaegar was next in line for the Iron Throne. So had that happened, Daenerys would have been quite ways down the line for the Iron Throne. But we get to see a princess in her prime who rides dragons, who's sort of the realm's delight that can be used both ways. Or like, she basically fucks who she wants. She does what she wants, but also most people like her. She's the realm's delight, right? So you get to see someone like that in their prime, and then also you get to see Daemon. Obviously, I'm a man, so I'm going to be able to relate more so to Daemon, but female characters who are written well, like Buffy Summers and motherfucking Daenerys, I put them above male characters because it's like, yeah, I could have sex with them and they're awesome, right? So I know that sounds perverted, and this is, maybe I should have gotten laid before I did this podcast. This is a bunch of sex talk, but yeah, no, it's like, because just being 100% honest, because like there's a sexual attraction to them, it goes further in my mind. So I'm going to be loyal to the character who most embodies my favorite one from before, Daenerys or Jon Snow, Daemon or Rhaenyra. really both. Obviously, Daemon is not that much like Jon Snow, but the sense of duty that Jon Snow has will probably be similar to the sense of duty that Daemon has after Viserys dies and he ends up marrying Rhaenyra. Similar with Rhaenyra, her whole life being next in line for the Iron Throne, she takes part in her father's meetings. That sense of duty, that honor, that not bastard that really formed who Jon Snow is, but that like greater purpose is very much apparent in these characters. And that's kind of what I look forward to in a character. It's like British people, whether you like the Queen or not, I think there's, for the most part, if they do like the Queen or whatever, there's this greater sense of duty and honor that comes with being like part of the royal family. And that's kind of like to, peasant people like me, that's like admirable. You're like you could easily fuck off. You have all of the power, you have all of the money to do it, but then you still do your royal duties. Not so much with the Queen and kings and shit nowadays, but back in the day, right? So when this story took place, it's like, even though Jon Snow could do whatever the fuck he wants, he can't, but I'm just saying, he technically, at one point, he's dead now, but he could ride south, take House Stark, take the North, become king of the North. Rob's will would legitimize him. He could do all of these things, but he's got a greater sense of duty, a greater sense of purpose. That's what keeps him at the wall till obviously at the end where he decides to leave, thanks to the pink letter. But, let's see. Luckman Daniels said, I appreciate some White Walker action. Shout out to Luckman Daniels. I think they are a member of my YouTube. Oh, yeah, that's the one thing that I always forget to do. So, like, for my YouTube channel, if you want to watch all of my videos ad-free, it's like $4.99 a month, and I get 40% of that revenue, but it makes it so that no ads appear on any of my videos ever. And also you get to use cool ass emojis, which are going to be more of a thing because I'm going to be doing these live streams more often, building up for the release of I was about to say Dance of the Dragon season 1. For House of the Dragon season 1, I'm going to be streaming more to get myself ready for my after the show live streams. So those emojis are going to be something more enticing to use. But basically you just go click on join or whatever, like join for membership. Oh wow, this person's back. Oh, don't click that link, baby. They came back? Okay, no. Okay. Divine Shrika says, thanks, Lord Hunts, for acknowledging my Song of Ice and Fire artwork. For those who are interested, you can check my IG account at Charkad, CHAREKAD, for those who are listening. And yeah, you're saying my name correctly, my good sir. Awesome. Goddamn porn bots. Goddamn porn bots. Goddamn. What's that? I love doing that shit whenever I start doing a live stream with Bill O'Reilly where he's fucking freaking out and he's like, fuck it, we'll do it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Oh man, say what you will about that piece of shit, but that is fucking hilarious. That is like one of the best clips ever. I can relate to that so much doing these live streams when I'm like, I'll go looking over my notes, and then for some reason my webcam cuts off, and I'm like, "Fuck it, I'll do it live without the webcam." Like I don't know. If you do broadcasting, you can relate to that. It's funny. Add me as admin. I'll monitor your balls. What? Oh, your balls. What? Oh man, I'm an idiot. I didn't read that. Hang on a second. Can I do that? I can't do that from the chat thing that I'm in right now. I got to go on the YouTube chat for that. Where'd your message go? Okay, I just made you a mod. Hang on, let me double check. All right, good. Dizzy says Daemon or no? Daemon the Daring. One of Viserys's other sons, I think. Viserys the First. So you had Aegon, you had Aemond, you had Daemon and Helena. Maybe there's another girl. I don't fucking know. He has too many kids. But obviously Daemon is the son of Alicent, and so he's a Hightower in Viserys. I don't know if they're gonna do his character on this show. It's so many fucking male target. Like Aegon is the king who doesn't necessarily want it, right? So he's kind of like, what the fuck, man? My sister, I don't really, right? So his mom sort of forces him into that role. At least that's sort of the impression that we get from the source material. Then Aemond, probably kind of a similar way, right? So the whole reason why he steals Vhagar is because he's kind of intimidated into doing so by Viserys, his own father, by saying like, you're too young to ride a dragon. Basically, Viserys is kind of egging him on. So this is why he ends up going to go steal Vhagar. So we have these two Targaryen males, and we've got the same kind of deal on Rhaenyra's side with the strong boys, quote unquote. So I don't know if we'll have Daemon, the Daring, in this story. He probably will be. For those who are unaware, he was known as being the gentlest of his brothers. It's kind of what I remember. He's like a playful thing. JD Young OG says they kind of flop with Aemond eyepatch already. And for those who don't know what he's talking about, let me pull that up. So OG the Youngin, I think that was your name, right? Jay the Young OG, sweet berserk, fucking profile icon, dope. So basically, Aemond, we think the older version of Aemond is going to be played by this guy right here. I don't know if it's Tom Glenn Carney or the other motherfucker. I don't keep track of their names because it's hard for me to. I've never seen the main cast do anything outside of House of the Dragon, and I haven't seen that yet, obviously. So it's hard for me to keep track of what these actors' names are. And then I saw there were people that were getting mad at that, but really it's like, no. These people are going to be known for House of the Dragon. So if I'm still forgetting their real life names after House of the Dragon comes out, well then fuck me, because that's, rightfully so. But right now, they're pretty much no-name actors. They haven't been in anything that I've watched. I don't watch like the kind of shit that some of these people have been in, so I don't know who they are. But anyway, he's talking about he doesn't like the way that they did the eye patch, and I've mentioned before that kind of actually makes the most sense, because then when he reveals the glistening sapphire, his link to the old gods, to blood magic, to watching Daemon at Harrenhal, that would be more like fucking, it would just be more of an aesthetically pleasing reveal. And then also you got to realize that eye patch could easily be rendered green, and then it maybe he only reveals the eye when he's fighting or to certain characters to make them intimidated. I don't know. Shout out PJ's Reads. Huh? Oh. Hey, sir, can I please have a shout out on the stream? I make podfics for tons of fandoms, including Game of Thrones, but I don't have many watchers, and you were my inspirations on my channel. For sure, man. Everybody go follow PJ's Reads. Tom Glenn Carney is playing Aegon 2. Right. But who the hell is Tom Glenn Carney? I know who Aegon 2 is. Woo-hoo! Who the fuck is Tom Glenn Carney? I've never seen him. I'm not even trying to sound rude or disrespect that person, but it's like, it's not like Emilia Clarke, you know what I mean? Or like fucking Kit Harington. I know who they are. What the fuck was that? That's crazy. Luckman Daniel says, we haven't seen or heard anything about Mushroom. Do you think they'll cast him? Yes, they better cast him. If they don't have Mushroom, well, that kind of falls in line with that whole afraid to sort of push the bucket and be edgy kind of thing. Like, we can't show as many titties and dicks and buttholes because we're afraid that we would be interpreted by critics as softcore porn. Fuck that. It's raw. It's edgy. It's fucking... It's what it is. We have to have Mushroom. He adds to that. And also, you shouldn't be afraid to make fun of midgets or dwarves or little people, whatever the correct way to say it is nowadays, because that's like not a thing. People can People can be offended. You shouldn't be afraid to be offended. That's so stupid. I personally look to be offended at certain things. It tests my tolerance for shit. So I watch stuff that should offend me because of who I am and whatever. And it's like I don't burn, I don't fucking die because I get offended. Who gives a shit? Oh, all right, we're good. We're back. I don't know what the hell happened there. I'm literally like plugged into my fucking router. It's not even on Wi-Fi. Oh yeah. So they should be worried, is what I was saying. They should be worried about not offending people just as much as offending people. There you go. Perfect quote for that. Perfect quote for that. You should realize your mistakes and the shit that you're ashamed of, because once you realize them, you can wear them. Like how people say, I put my heart on my sleeve, I put all my emotions out there. Then like it can't be used to hurt you, right? So everybody knew Tyrion was this fucking imp. You know, he was this bastardized thing during his time frame. He tells Jon, who is an actual bastard, yo, I've had to deal with so much more shit than you have. And Jon's like, what do you mean? You know, like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're a Lannister. You're a legit Lannister. And he's like, yes, but all dwarves are bastards in their father's eyes. And then Jon's like, oh, you're right, man. Maybe I should stop being so fucking emo. And that's obviously when, you know, Jon gets told, like, use that bastard status as your armor, right? It can never be used to hurt you if you're aware of it, right? You can't, if I say I only have $6 in my account, that's a lie. I only have $3. But if I say I only have $6 in my account and I tell everyone that, and then one of the people who was in that room comes up to me in the hallway and later on goes, haha, you fucking poor bitch, you only have $6 in your account. I have my debit card on my sleeve, right? I already told everyone that. It can't be used to hurt me. Fuck you. I already know I have $6 in my account, and you're the idiot because it's only $3, right? So that's kind of what that whole thing was. Sometimes I don't know why I go on these tangents. Being honest here, but before GOT, nobody knew who Emilia Clarke or Kit Harington. That's exactly what I was saying. But now you can say this is Kit Harington or this is Emilia Clarke. You don't say the person who played Daenerys or the person who played, right? So that's what you hope these actors, when they take on these roles, they transcend the roles and you know them by their name. That's exactly what my point was. I guess it's my weird way of talking about it. You didn't get that from me saying it. Exactly. People are way too easily offended these days. Yes. All right. This is a good point to wrap this video up. I want to thank every single person for watching. I want to thank you all so much for, you know, watching it live and then also watching it back. And then remember I was mentioning before at the beginning of this video, or I think about 8 minutes in, the way YouTube's algorithm works is like if your video doesn't get more than a certain amount of views in a certain amount of time, then to YouTube's algorithm, that means that that video is unworthy of being shared, right? Unworthy of being viewed. So if you don't get, let's say, 5,000 views in the first 24 hours, then that means that according to YouTube, your video isn't worth being promoted. And I know that sounds crazy as shit. You're like, what the fuck? You have 100,000 subs or 97,000. At one point, you can see that fucking silver play button behind me. I had you know, over 100,000 subscribers, and they all just sort of trickle away and disappear. And it's weird because literally, you could look at my subscriber count. It goes up 20 and then down 20 and then up 20 and then down 20. And all of my research and all of my stress and all of my angst to try to figure out what the fuck is going on, the only thing I can think of is that I'm secretly blacklisted. So for some reason, because I say retard, because I say nigga, because I say any fucking word that I want to in my fucking videos, because that's my right as an American citizen. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm using the word as I was taught as a child, which is like I can express myself using any word I want to. As long as I'm not directing it at someone else trying to hurt them, it's fine. It's language, right? That's how I was raised. So anyway, maybe because I say those things, that's why YouTube is like, yo, we cannot promote this guy's videos. He's too much of a savage. He's too raw. We can't let other people who think like him find him. Whatever the fuck YouTube's algorithm is. I'm starting to sound like a crazy person, like there's this big conspiracy against me. But no, that really is it. Who keeps letting this person in here that's saying porn? All right. But yeah, so anyway, the way that you combat that, the way that you help me out, like I said, even if you don't necessarily fuck with my shit, if I've made you laugh, if I entertained you, one way of saying thank you to me is just by going over to my patreon.com/SirHuntsReviews, because that's a guaranteed way to combat YouTube's algorithm. All of these people, Joe Swag, Ray De Los Santos, Marilyn Miller, Nancy Toxstein, Leah Hendrickson, Bloody Tyrant, Damon Mile, Rick Lacey, Nancy Loera, Reflective Rambling. She actually just made some channel art for me. I'm going to try to share that here in a second. Isaiah Nash, Matt Vance, Angie Delahanty, Rogaine Ablar. All of these people support me to the point where they say, fuck you to YouTube's algorithm. They give me $1, $2, $3. It doesn't matter. It all adds up. Thank you all so fucking much. It's literally like a big fuck you to YouTube's algorithm. I make $200 to $300 a month on YouTube. $400 if I'm lucky. And that's not with me only uploading once or twice a week like some other YouTube channels. No, I fucking upload for the most part every goddamn day, right? So the 2 or 3 hours that I have to myself before I come on and do full-on daddy duty, before my girlfriend goes and is like a night shift nurse, before she goes to do that, I have a few hours every day where, you know, I can take time to do shit. And I always work on videos. Whatever. I'm sounding like a little bitch, but yeah, thank you to these people. Shout out to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/Reviews. Shout out to every single person watching this video, who watched it live and who's watching it after the fact. Thank you. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Long Night Reviews. Zeldrizas Buzdari, Ixos Daor. Also, if my theory turns out to be right about the Daemon, Aemond, Weirwood slashes Harrenhal connection, well, fucking, you better subscribe, because more of that kind of shit is coming. Long night. Wait,